Shopping is probably the most fun thing you can do in table tennis, and no matter if you are a defender or not, it will come situations where a backhand shop can be useful. And that's the reason that we have made a 6-step guide on how to master the backhand shop like a pro. The first step is the movement of your arm. You start out with the racket in front of you, then you go up, a little bit upwards, a little bit to the side, so the racket is on the side of your head. You make the movement where you make your arm straight downwards, hitting the ball, and then come back to the middle. The reason that we start with the racket here in front of us and not here where we actually start making the swing, start making the shot, is that we want to be ready for the ball coming to the backhand or to the forehand. Because if we are waiting here, we will not have any chance to make a good shot from the forehand. It is also, like in basically all other shots in our beautiful sport, extremely important to be relaxed when you make the backhand shot. Because otherwise, you will be stiff, you will not have any acceleration, and you will lose your control and ability to create spin. Another common mistake less experienced shoppers do is that they straight out their arm and then they stop there. And this is a big mistake because you're not going to be ready for your next shot no matter where the ball comes. Step 2 is how to use the legs. First of all, make sure that your racket-sided foot is slightly in front of the other one. The next thing to think about is that when you get an attack against you who is not so hard, make sure to bend the legs a lot when you make the shot. This is to take over the control over the ball, because if you are bending your legs, you will make sure that the ball don't fly too long or get too high. If your opponent make a really hard attack, you will not have the time to bend your legs so much, and also there is no reason to make such a big movement since it's a lot of speed in the ball. So then you will make the same technique but just slightly bend your legs. The third step is the racket angle, and this is actually quite complicated because it depends both on the spin in your opponent's shot and the speed in your opponent's shot. We start out if it's topspin in the ball. If someone play a topspin with quite good power, so it stands perfect to the ball, we have a quite open racket angle, not closed like in a block, but not open like in a normal push, but between, and we go straight down. If we want to make extremely much spin, we can go straight down and then open it up in the end of the movement, but it's not necessary to make the shot. But if the topspin is much slower, we have no other choice than to follow through the shot. So you go down with a quite open angle and then you open it even more to make sure to get the height and the ball over the net. We move on to when your opponents play with no spin. If they play a no spin shot, like a top spin technique but without any spin in it, so it goes slow against you, it's extremely important to really follow through your movement. Then you need to keep a pretty open racket angle and follow through it, because there is absolutely nothing to work on in the ball. If they make a topspin, you at least have the spin. If they play hard, you have the speed. But here you must do everything yourself to make sure that the ball goes over. But if they smash instead, you have the speed in the ball, even if it's not a lot of spin. So then you can keep your racket angle a little bit more closed, but not like in a block, but a little bit more closed, and just follow through your movement. If it's backspin in the ball instead, you do it like a normal push. You keep a very open racket angle and goes under the ball. The difference with the shop technique against backspin than a normal push is that the normal push, you just have your racket in front of you and straight out your arm, while with the shop technique, you take the racket a little bit on the side of your body and follow through it a bit more. Step 4 is the distance from the table and from the ball. A common mistake here is that, for example, you go too far back and the ball comes pretty slow and you reach for it. Make sure to always make the very best you can to stand close to the ball to be able to make the movement we talked about before. The second thing is that, of course, your distance from the table is very dependent on the speed in your opponent's attack. If you play against someone that you know for sure is going to play very powerful, of course you can take a step back and be a little further from the table, but still, don't go too far. I would say it's more common that choppers are too far from the table than too close. And if you play against someone who you know can't really put a lot of pressure against backspin, you can take a little step forward to get more pressure in your chops and to stand correctly to every ball. Step 5, and this is more important than you can imagine, and it's the length of the ball. When you chop, you want the ball to bounce around here, pretty close to the line. Of course, you don't want it at the line because it's way too risky, but pretty close to it around here. And there's 2 reasons for this. One, if the ball is too short, it's very easy to make a really powerful shot and you will not have so much time to take it. While if the ball has a lot of length and they try to make a powerful shot, it's a bigger chance that they are going to miss it. And if they hit it, you will have some more time to take it. And the other reason is that it's so much easier to make drop shots if the ball bounces too close to the net. It's very easy to push it, so it bounces, for example, 2 times on your side, and the chance that you're going to reach that ball is a lot smaller than if they try it when you have good length in your chop. Before the last step, I just want to say that we are very happy to say that we are sponsored by Stiga and that you have the opportunity to get 15% discount if you use our code Maestros15. I also write it in the description to get 15% discount on anything on Stiga's website. And you will not be disappointed because they have material in absolutely world class. Let's move on to the last step. And the last step, step number 6, is actually very simple. If you get more speed against you, you should have a shorter and slower movement. Because there is already a lot of speed in the ball, so you will not need to do much for it to hit perfectly on the table. And if you do it too much, it will fly too long. And if you get a slower ball, you get through the movement more. You follow the ball more after you hit it. And it's very important to also be a little faster with your acceleration. With that said, I want to say thank you for today. I hope you liked today's video and see you next time.